Everybody can put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, what my guys?
Ambulance. Clap for the ambulance. Just like in the
basketball. Two hands to the sky. Two hands to the sky. Two hands up, y'all. Two hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Peace, y'all. My name is Alan York. I am 1/4 of the force, and this is the Soapboxx Podcast. So we're going to do things just a smidge different tonight. My co-hosts who are here, and I'm going to bring them into the fold, are going to be assisting me on this Yorkoworld journey that we've decided to call it today. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. And I want to go ahead and do a wellness check. First and foremost, second and foremost, to the lady, Miss Giovanni. How are you feeling today? Thank you for coming.
Yes, of course.
How you feeling? How's your week, man?
Hey, Alan, TJ, Soapboxx Nation. I am feeling empowered right now. I feel a sense of renewed strength that I have been trying to grab onto for a long time now. So I'm grateful today.
Do you think that's because like the microgrades?
What's up?
Do you think that's because like the microgrades is over with the planets and stuff?
I don't really look into that stuff, so elaborate.
Well, everyone says that the last couple of months have been harsh due to the microwaves and the solar systems and all of that. The mercury, the mercury in the fish and the mercurogrades and all of that. So I didn't know if you the renewed the renewed essence that you have, and because that recently ended. So I know a lot of people I've been speaking to was looking forward to that ending. And, I think that there's a lot of very similar sentiments than the one that you've shared. So I wonder if the two
is for sure.
I
think that I had a cycle.
I said I'm not too big into astrology either. So I'm always asking people their opinions on,
No, but I think that for maybe 3 to 6 months, I had a certain cycle that I had to get through. And I don't know if you all have this app, but it's called The Pattern. And it's really good. You should download the app. Next time we'll talk about the app called The Pattern. Just let me know if it resonates with you at all. But it's kind of like they just do it. It's an app that knows what you're going through and when things are going to take place based off of like your astrology stuff. So it's legit.
So, for the record, y'all, that is not an ad.
No.
But
It was not sponsored.
you're listening.
But we can talk though. We can talk.
Yeah,
We can talk though.
I'm at Koalas. Yeah, you see what we're doing.
That Just Giovanni endorsement.
Right.
We love it.
It's big money. It's big money. You know, normally you can't pay for stuff like that.
Right. Okay. People want to hear from TJ.
Our fearless leader, my man. How are you? How's life?
Yo,
Your shirt looking real topical, brother. Your shirt looking real Miami Vice, man. It's
Listen. When I'm not manning the controls and it's Alan is doing the thing, I can sit back and relax, have a little tropical shirt, have my Moscato and lemonade, and just kind of sit back and chop it up with the family. I am so grateful and glad to be here with y'all on this Thursday on the most infamous podcast on all streaming services, the Soapboxx. So I'm excited, man. We got some good topics today.
Before we even go further, you mentioned Moscato and lemonade. I feel like Moscato's sweet. I feel like lemonade's sweet. Sugar might be going a little bit crazy right now. Let me know how you came up with that concoction.
I don't know. One day I was just like, man, I want some lemonade. And I was like, yeah, but I really want some Moscato. And I was just like, you know what? What's stopping me from having both and living my life? This is this is diabetic me that did this. And so now that I'm not a diabetic anymore, I'm just like, live life. So I am living life. Usually, I'm gonna tell you this. What I usually do is take the Moscato, take the lemonade, put some natural fruits in it, maybe some Patron in there, blend it up into a nice frozen smoothie and enjoy your time. Yo, I host. I do some things over here.
What?
Moscato, Patron, lemonade, and
some fruit. Fresh fruit.
Oh.
Listen, if y'all didn't know, the Soapboxx also holds our own bartender school. Bartendician, or whatever the barologist. So the Soapboxx bartending school will also be coming out as well as some other things that we can't really talk about right now because the ink is not dry. So now to get into these topics, right?
And shout out to Soapboxx Nation too.
Of course. Soapboxx Nation, thank y'all for rocking with us as usual.
Yes,
so before we get into a little bit of a somber news and dialogue, I did want to go ahead and issue our condolences, Soapboxx condolences to all the lives that were lost recently in the Astroworld Festival this past Friday. So as of right now, it's 8 confirmed passings, and there are also a couple of people in the hospital. We're definitely wishing them a speedy recovery. I didn't want to go to speaking about anything else in regards to that without giving our condolences first. And if you are watching the Soapboxx via YouTube or Facebook or anywhere where it's visually, you'll be able to see the pictures and the names of the victims. So you see that the ages range anywhere from 14 to 27. The gentleman that is currently in the hospital is, if I'm not mistaken, 9 years old. So a lot of people were affected. And it's just a tragic incident. And
Question, eh?
Yeah.
Yo, these concerts don't have an age limit?
I was thinking the same thing.
The thing is,
there's like a rate, and that's why I need your expertise, because I wasn't too familiar about what type of concerts or the things Travis Scott does in his concerts. Right. But I would have assumed that these are age limits. Like he's a 14-year-old, 9-year-old. Like, where are the parents?
The thing is, I mean, and I can't really speak for this specific concert, but I know that what he does and what he's been expounded upon is essentially he has like a whole weekend. So it's not just the concert. So a lot of people are buying all-encompassing passes. He has rides, like this is a theme park. He's selling merch. So it's really a whole event with
it's like an experience.
Right, with just the concert being the accumulation of everything. So no, I mean there's really no age limit to my understanding. You go there for the experience. You don't necessarily have to go to a concert. You could do other things. He generally sells like 3-day passes. So it's like, it's a whole thing that he's been doing in the city of Houston for the last, I believe, 4 or 5 years or so. As you can imagine, outside of, those being one of the questions, a lot of people have been trying to see what responsibility or any sort of accountability would someone like the artist would get in a situation like that, where someone, in this instance, multiple people, paid the ultimate price. And, there's already lawsuits coming in. Not only was Astroworld as an event sued, but Live Nation, who hosts the actual event, along with Travis Scott and even Drake. And my understanding is Drake, of course, he performed there, but I'm not even sure he was technically billed. But I know he did come out with Travis, so he's also his name has been thrown in the lawsuits as well. So, I would love to hear from you guys. Yeah. We can go ahead and which footage is this?
This is actually courtesy of TMZ, right? So we want to give credit. They actually got some footage of some of the things that were going on in the concert. I saw the video vaguely, but we can all take a look and watch.
Yeah, I mean, and before we do that, just trigger warning. This may be a bit sensitive if anyone's been in a similar situation or know anyone in a similar situation. So you may see some things that may be a little bit unsettling. So
let me see. I'm gonna try this new feature right here. I ain't seen this. So basically, the play-by-play. I guess we can probably better place to be on the side.
I'm from Toronto,
There we go.
but
That's
I got
Drake.
Houston tatted on me because it's always been my home. So I appreciate you having me. I love y'all. Astroworld Fest, there's nothing like it. Make some motherfucking noise and jump!
So I don't know if that's a person that is actually deceased or someone that has just passed out. But people in the concert are actually trying to revive people at the Travis Scott.
and
They're trying to perform CPR. This concert's still going on.
right. And I mean, if you are not watching, what you're seeing, this footage that we're looking at right now is not very close to the stage at all.
And that was my question, right? Is how is people? A lot of people I heard they were blaming Travis Scott.
We get this footage out
He
here. Sure. We get this out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and dead that. But yeah, if okay, so my thing is, and this is my question, right? If Travis Scott is performing, right? How is he supposed to know that there's something going on? Because as you saw in the first video that we did on the lead-in, he kind of knew what was going on, but he saw that an ambulance was actually taking care of it. So I guess he just kind of kept it going. But I think people are like, "Oh, Travis Scott, like." That's my whole thing is like I'm trying to figure out, and maybe next week when we have attorney Sean Shaw comes on, we can talk about the culpability of it. But like my initial reaction was like, how is he blamed?
You can't blame Travis Scott. I mean, that's just like if we were when you go to NFL games or Super Bowl games and they're extremely packed, at least 5 to 7 people are in the ER office because they passed out, have asthma, they may have had an allergic reaction or something. That's what EMT is for. That's what that's what first responders are for, to be on the scene, to be able to take care of that stuff. And I've never been to an NFL game where I've been to an NFL game where I've seen people pass out and first responder comes and take care of it. But the NFL team didn't stop playing on the field. I mean, like you kind of don't really, or the coaches didn't call the game, Hi, Jazz.
Hey, girl. Hello.
The coaches didn't call the game. But the only thing that I will say with Travis Scott is I think that his fans feel like out of like decency, or maybe it just could have been a a moment of silence to figure out, like, we're going to take a break. But I think that that's something his managers have to communicate with him, like, hey, they're telling us that not just one person passed out, but 4 or 5 people have passed out now. 2 people have been pronounced dead. Like, did these people die on the scene, or did they die at the hospital? Like, were these people dying at the concert? And did they know, like, hey, 4 people have died and we have an hour left. Do you want to end it? You know, if those conversations weren't being held and it was just kind of like he saw flashing lights and there was no communication from the management side or the owners of the place where he had the stadium, because I'm pretty sure they're there. They have to, you know, patrol some things too. If they didn't say, hey, we're going to have to shut this down, because, they're also liable because it's their property. So people die on their property. So I'm just thinking it's a lot of hands in this, to where Travis Scott, I believe, would be the last person that they would communicate with. Like, it would go through multiple people to say, hey, this XYZ is happening. This many people have died or passed out. Per this rule or law, county guidelines, we're going to have to shut it down. And I don't know if any of that took place, but I don't think that we could blame Travis Scott. I mean, it's very hard to tell. That's just like if I'm at a Beyonce concert and I passed out, it's no way that I would think that Beyonce would just know I am in for real danger.
It's funny you said that, because when you said, when I heard that you could sue people for concerts, I was like, man, if this is the new hustle, I will be at the next Beyonce concert.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm going on tour.
Beyonce concert, I'm breaking my ankle or something.
Yeah.
Because her concerts are, you know, and these rock. I mean, I guess his concerts like rock star, but if y'all have ever been to a concert, even if somebody is standing next to you, you cannot hear them. So I'm just trying to figure out how he was supposed to see past 5,000 people and just assume like, oh, that person actually died. But I guess people were saying, well, he should know because this always happens at his concert. People always die. Is that the truth or what?
They don't.
Not,
Go ahead, Alan.
Not necessarily. I think what people kind of put on him, and you know, I guess the first legal term that kind of like popped in my head was like inciting a riot or something like that. Like his shows, like by his command, like even we saw it in the first clip. He was like, "Yo, I want this ground to shake." Like he says stuff like that all of the time at his concerts.
But don't most you're an artist. Most artists say things like that.
I mean, it sounds good to. I mean, I can't say all artists say that, but I do know that specifically his crowd and his demographic are notorious in the industry and concerts for being the wildest. And essentially, he has always played into that and essentially being the ringleader. So, like, you know, there's other footage.
What did he say, Alan?
He was just like, yo, let's make this motherfucking ground shake. You know what I'm saying? So, which, you know,
I mean,
that's like,
it's innocent.
Pastors say that in church, like, let's scream so loud so the devil can hear us.
But guess what? It's
true.
It's not a problem until it becomes a problem, right? Like,
yeah,
so,
right.
I've been in clubs where they say if you got $20 in your pocket, say yeah, whatever, and I ain't got no money in my pocket, and I still be
what I'm saying is, if he's saying jump on the ground until it makes you shake, it's innocent until said jumping on the ground is leading to deaths. So now your words.
Also, were they on the ground and got trampled?
The correlation between those two. I mean, which is unfair to him.
Were they stepped on, Alan?
I mean, from some of the reports that came out, it was sounding like that was the reason for, you know, of course, it was people rushing. And then once they were rushing, it was like essentially they couldn't get up. People were being stepped on. Those were the initial reports.
I never heard that. Like people used to fall out at Michael Jackson's concerts all the time. Like he would stand there and people would just faint. And I never heard Michael Jackson being sued for.
But this is not. But that's the thing, though. It's not. People aren't just like the issue, and the reason why he's under hot water, which you know which is, it definitely could be unfair to him. It's not just people feigning and dying. Like it was like I said, from the initial reports that came out, it was way more like violent, like a mosh pit of people were just being extremely reckless and, pushing the whole crowd as it happens. But there were people who were pushed to the ground and they weren't helped up. And when we say weren't helped up, we're also, issuing some blame into the other concert goers as well. But that's also knowing your audience, right? And then just so, it's just the worst case scenario in all of this. And it's extremely unfortunate. Obviously just being a performer, you can't, outside of like the first couple of rows, you can't really see anything. Everything outside of that vicinity is just blurs, is dots. So,
but he encourages this behavior. Mm-hmm. And wasn't there like a whole like documentary with his like about his concerts? He encourages people to act like this at his concerts. He encourages people to rage at his concerts. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I was reading where he had told one of his fans to jump off of something, and they did it, and it left him paralyzed. So he encourages this type of behavior. And even at the concert, he was like saying, I guess there were people trying to get his attention. And they was like, oh, who told me to stop? No, you know what you came here to do. And at that point, I feel like you could have just like chimed in, try to figure out what's going on. And like, I get it. Like, I feel like a lot of people are to blame it. And it's not just Travis, but you have to put the blame on him too. But the full blame should not go to him. Because like, even watching the videos, like before the concert fully started, like around 2:00, there were people that were going through the barricades who like snuck in or were trying to sneak in ahead of time. So they should have stopped it right then and there, or they should have had some sort of crowd control right then and there to try to figure it out.
Over capacity.
It was way over capacity. And what's gonna happen? There was people there. They said like once their hands was in the air, like they couldn't even put it down. Like you could not breathe. Like people were drowning. They were trying to get like grasp air and they couldn't. Like that's such a scary situation. And
I saw this one video, and people, you can hear people in the crowd saying, "Help me, help me."
Yeah, there was so much. There was even people saying, "Stop the show, stop the show," and maybe he didn't hear them. But I feel like there was so many opportunities for people to communicate to him or to try to pause, like to stop, do something, and it was just obviously poorly organized. They didn't have, I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, he might have to start doing the seated ones, like where you actually sit down instead of these stand-up open field concerts. Like,
he can't.
It's like,
that's what I was going to say, because I don't go to concerts where I can't sit down. I know I must be old and these knees is bad. But I was like, I looked at that and I was just like the, they have like this thing in Orlando called, what is it, EMD? Or
EM? That's happening this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
It's happening this weekend, shaking everybody's damn house in
and
the
it's
area.
Off the chain.
And raving and drugs and all stuff. And they just let these mostly white kids going to this concert, using all these drugs. But at Classic Weekend in Orlando, all the cops got horses and shit. But at this rave, y'all just letting them, like the girls wearing half to nothing, wearing fucking fuzzy tails on their ass, walking down OBT. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, my point, they be buck ass naked out there. But my point is, that's just not for me. I looked at the footage and was like, that seems like a lot. Like if I go to a concert, I need to be maybe in the balcony area, somewhere on the side. Like when I went to the Chris Brown concert, when we covered it, I was on the side. I stood up, but I wasn't gonna stand up for every song. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I need a little time out. So I'm not gonna be in the midst of all. Like for instance, I like what's his face? Tyler the Creator, right? But I would never go to a Tyler the Creator concert because I know who listens to Tyler the Creator's music. I wouldn't want to be with them. So I don't know, but I want to ask you this question, Alan. I'm gonna talk about you. Is there anything to some of these rumors about satanic rituals and stuff like that that people are saying, well, this is because, and I saw some of the memes of the images and the things that he has as far as like going like the people coming in, and he has like his mouth open. And it's like you see you on the other side. Like it's a lot of like satanic type of imagery, and like, is there anything to that where people are like, "Yo, this is a sacrifice," or is that just the internet just being the internet? What do you think?
Before Alan answer his question,
Yeah,
listen.
go ahead.
Wait, before Alan answer your question,
I know you a child of God. Talk to him.
That was the first thing that I thought of when those people died. It's like, I wonder, does he feel like, oh, these people have sacrificed their life for me? And I'm just thinking that the amount of power that gives a person, knowing like people have died under my watch to see me. And I'm just thinking, is that constantly being fed to him, which is why he continues? Because at some point, I do agree with just say that, hey, y'all, listen, I know everybody here to see me. We all got love for each other. If you see somebody and they need help, help them up. But we're not going to continue this concert if it's going to be violence. Then you get them back together. Y'all feel me? We on the same page, and everybody, yeah. All right, let's start it. Let's drop it. But for him to not even try to do that was just, I do feel like it's a little, kind of evil. Like, well, let's just see how many people die today in my name of Travis Scott, so, but okay.
Yep. Did you see that? Did you see that they had like
I'm just saying, baby. I'm just saying.
Did you see that the place that they had the concert at, that the security handbook, it was to refer to people who were deceased as Smurfs? Did you guys read that?
No.
What?
Smurfs.
So wherever the location is, wherever he held the concert, so in their security handbook, it says over the radio to not refer to anybody as deceased, that you would have to refer to them as Smurfs.
Smurfs?
Okay. I guess I mean, I feel like that's okay. I can understand how that would kind of just be like internal security code words and stuff like that. Like for example, like when I worked at a bank, if a robber came in, you wouldn't be like, it's a robber. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I know, but
or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think
I get it.
Yeah, I can understand I can understand just like the nickname aspect of it. I don't really get into like satanic rituals and stuff like that because I feel like if you look hard enough, you can find Satan in everything. The same way if you look hard enough, you can find God in everything.
You didn't need to look hard enough to find that satanic in that concert.
So
at all.
He's been having,
it was in the open.
He's essentially been having these concerts, and like I said, the same atmosphere for the last at least 5+ years. Like people going to his concerts, that's kind of what they expect. I think the bulk of the culpability is going to come on Live Nation because obviously they had too many people. They oversold tickets, right? Yep. So if there's too many people in the venue, that means you shouldn't have been selling that many tickets. So I think that's where the bulk of the claim and insurance and the responsibilities, or just legally, is going to come from.
Well, Benjamin Crump is on some of these cases, so there's a bag to be had. Because if there's a bag, Crump, he's like a hound dog.
I mean, there's nothing going to trial. At least, from the victims and the victims' families, there's nothing really to fight about.
But they're not really going to get a lot because if you got to think of it as a pizza pie. If there's one pot, it's not like you suing him for his $1 billion with Kylie Jenner and shit like that. Everybody going to get a little piece of that pie, and then it's going to dwindle off of 200 people that were injured, the 8 people that died. So it's not like it's going to be an astronomical amount of money, no pun intended. But they're going to get a little. They're going to get a little something.
I mean, I don't know what they're referring. What do you mean, the families? Like what they?
I'm talking about the victims. Yeah, the people that's going to file suit already. I think there was like a couple. I don't know the exact number of people that.
Well, yeah. If we're just speaking about the people who were injured, I'm sure there's going to be a huge class action lawsuit.
Technically, everybody could sue because I would, if I was at the concert, I would be like, "Oh, it's such a traumatic event."
Couldn't breathe. Yeah.
I'm sure. Look at Jesse trying to get in on my lawsuit.
But you know,
we could have.
No, but it's
Hey, well, we was all there. We were all there.
yeah, I mean, with the class action lawsuits, though, I mean, everyone who got a ticket will probably be entitled to X amount of money. But when it comes to those lawsuits, they're so big, you know, people are just going to end up getting a very insignificant amount of money, really, unless they can prove that, you know, something long-term effective happened to them. So, I mean, you know, it'll definitely happen, and it'll definitely hurt the insurance company and probably the label. But there will be some sort of monetary repercussions. But individually, I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be a huge.
And then there was a video of Travis Scott where he did say something. I do remember. So going back to my last comment, I do remember seeing another video where Travis Scott took a moment to address a situation like to the left of him, and he was like, "Hey, you know, something is going on. This person needs help." And then he did start the concert back. But so I don't know how many times he did that throughout the concert, but he did acknowledge it was some issues.
Yeah, and that was the same time that he was singing over the guy who's getting carried out. And you guys seen that? He was like, he asked him to stop. Like, he was like, "Oh, don't touch him. Like, you know, pick him up. Someone's fainted." Like, yeah, he showed that he was concerned, absolutely. But then as he's being carried out, he's like singing over him, which was a little weird.
He was what? Singing?
He's like singing over him. Yeah, he was like, yeah. You guys gonna see that? That was
I mean, you know, people react very weird.
Yeah, y'all consume a lot of internet. I missed all that shit. Damn.
Oh no, I've been watching videos on this because as soon as I woke up to the news, I was like, this is crazy. Like, just something didn't sit right with my spirit with the whole situation. It was crazy. And then go ahead, because I just want to say one more thing, and then I'm done.
No, I was just gonna say we were just doing our journalistic.
Right. Crack stab. Big J journalism here on the Soapbox.
That's right.
It was not a criticism, but go ahead, Jay.
No, I also saw on World Star that they had posted some comments that Travis Scott was leaving under like people who attended the concert or like some of the victims. And there was one comment that he left, and supposedly he deleted all of these. But there was one comment that he left. He was like, "Sorry you didn't make it out of the rodeo. You're my hero." That's weird.
See, how are we gonna sit there and give you credit for being a big journalist, and then you're gonna say my source is World Star Hip Hop? God damn it!
What? What are you talking about? World Star Hip Hop.
He said rodeo.
He was in the comment section. Travis Scott was in the comment section.
He was in the comment section of the victims. And World Star had posted like screenshots.
My fault. I retract my statement for trying to be funny.
No,
but yeah.
World Star had posted screenshots of like what he had written under these posts. Yeah, it was like a few. It was a few, like, and he was saying like some stuff. So I don't know.
Forgive me, blame the Moscato.
Yeah. So you know, again, we just want to definitely issue our condolences to the victim's family, and we do hope that the young man who is currently in the hospital right now does get a full recovery. So
Travis Scott look like he'll be a vampire in another world.
What?
I don't know nothing about no vampire.
He gives me vampire vibes.
I just said what? What happened?
So and speaking of vampires, and
yes, good transition.
Travis Scott's protege, Travis Scott's mentor, Kanye West, was in the news a lot this week. So as of last Thursday, he did a 2.5-hour interview, which apparently is only part one, with Drink Champs. And he hit on a lot of things. Now, he did mention, you know, there's some Drake comments. There was some Travis Scott comments. Particularly, he said he tells Travis Scott, "Hey, Travis, you know you copy me, right?" He also states that him and Kim are technically not divorced. He said he's never seen any divorce papers, and apparently he hates Kim Kardashian's nanny and publicist. That's a little footnote. He also mentioned
he hates her nanny.
Yes. He says that she puts bad things in her ear in regards to him. Now, one of the highlights outside of him dissing Big Sean, which we'll get into in a little bit, was him speaking about the Drake situation. Essentially, he said that, listen, you know, they're going back and forth with each other. But they do have one common goal, and that is to free Larry Hoover. And a couple of days after that, and we do have a video, Kanye West released this not so cryptic video on his Instagram next to Dre Prince. And we're gonna go ahead and let you all see.
Can you explain who Dre Prince is before we play the clip? Hey.
So Dre Prince is essentially a Houston legend, OG in the streets per reputation. But not to minimize him to that, he did start Rap-A-Lot Records and was instrumental in being one of the first Southern hip-hop CEOs. He's been tied to and still holds relationships with anyone who is anybody in the industry. And even to fast forward, it was his son that discovered Drake way back in 2008. So the lineage is strong. Drake has a lot of love for Houston, as we've seen in the previous video, and his ties and love to J Prince and J Prince Jr. goes back a long way, as well as Jazz Prince. Jazz Prince, part of me, was the one who discovered Drake. So he is kind of the bridge between those two at the moment. He was also the person who stepped in and spoke with Kanye when Drake and Pusha was going through their things and kind of made sure things didn't spill over. And he's been kind of that background presence within hip-hop over the last 30 years or so. So that is the person that is going to be next to Kanye in this video. So he is kind of a big deal if you're not familiar with him.
I'm making this video to address the ongoing back and forth between myself and Drake. Both me and Drake have taken shots at each other, and it's time to put it to rest. I'm asking Drake on December 7th to join me on stage as a special guest to share the two biggest albums of the year, live in Los Angeles, with the ultimate purpose being to free Larry Hoover. I believe this event will not only bring awareness to our cause, but prove to people everywhere how much more we can accomplish when we lay our pride to the side and come together. This is Jay and J Prince.
That's the end of the video. Listen, I've given that speech before. I've given that speech in 5th grade when I did something I wasn't supposed to do, and my mom brought me to the school, and I had to read off a statement to the teacher, like, look, I ain't going to disrupt the class no more. Just want to let y'all know, like, that's what it came off to me. Like, it seemed like somebody pinched Kanye on his arm, was like, look, y'all need to chill out. So I don't know, what was your take? Hey?
Well, if you can see this video, you can go directly to Instagram/Kanye West. He is literally reading what he said off of his phone. One, Kanye just got a phone like 2 days ago. Two, Kanye don't like to read. And this is by admission. Kanye says, listen, I'm not the greatest reader. So it's so many steps that had to happen for this video to happen. Apparently, according to them, they actually met up in a place of worship in Houston. So they met up in church. They had a little powwow, and this was the ending of the powwow. Now, a lot of people, as you can tell, would think that Kanye's posture and his enthusiasm doesn't exist in this video. And then all you do is see J Prince kind of, giving the OG lean to the right of him.
Like his daddy.
Yeah, right. Now, there's also a long, eloquent quote in J Prince's Instagram message when he posted this video. Essentially, to make a long story short, he said, we have to have movement thinking and not moment thinking, which I did think that was profound. He was like, just to kind of break it down in layman's terms, because he can get real sophisticated on the IG, real OG talk. Essentially, he said, moment thinking, you're upset at the moment and you can kind of gloss over the bigger picture. Movement thinking is to stay focused on what the task is at hand and to kind of, walk in those steps to make sure that your movement continues to go. So a lot of people in the industry, including Kanye, is trying to get out Larry Hoover. I don't know personally how a concert would affect the trial or what's the science between them two doing a concert in regards to like Hoover. My personal theory is that concert that they're looking to do, which would obviously garner a ridiculous amount of money, it would be a J Prince production. So
yeah, of course, that'd be business.
yeah, sponsored by J Prince. So of course, it makes a lot of sense for him to kind of push that.
Yeah, don't they live down the street from each other?
Yes, I mean, but you know, they're not gonna.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, sometimes because you know Drake.
Oh yeah, because didn't Kanye West post Drake address on Twitter or something?
Right, I was gonna say the address that he posted was in Canada. Drake does spend a lot of time in Canada, so it's like sometimes they're in the same neighborhood, sometimes they're not. Huh?
He's been public. Kanye West has been public because he said that Drake be sleeping with all of Kim's friends, and they live right down the street from each other.
Right. They have residencies down the street. You know, Kanye being Washington, Drake being, you know, in Canada. So they're probably not in the same house in California simultaneously a lot.
What was the original beef about? Did Kanye talk about that?
Well, he said that he felt that Drake was taking little shots at him.
In his music or in person?
What did he say? He was saying that Drake was alluding that he slept with Kim, and Kanye had a problem with that.
Right. And correct. Essentially, he was mad that Drake would never come out and clear up that he never had sex with Kim.
Oh, right. Okay.
But even before that, they had little tidbits, little riffs back and forth. Supposedly, all things were mended a couple of years ago when Drake went out to Wyoming. And then Kanye did something petty. So the story is, according to Drake, Kanye said, listen, here's this beat. You can go ahead. You know, Drake did some writing for his album, and Kanye gave Drake a beat. Next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, Kanye releases a record on the beat that he told Drake that he can have. But it wasn't even a real record. I'm not sure if you guys remember the record where Kanye was like, scoop, scoopity, scoop.
Yeah, I like that song.
Yeah.
Scoopy.
Not his lyrics, but the beginning of the song was going to be like, yo, this is going to be dope.
Right. So Drake was like, okay, now you're just playing with me. Like, okay, there's no reason for you to do that, you know. So it continued on and kind of snowballed there, and then Sicko Mode came out, et cetera, et cetera. So, Giovanni, what did that video tell you? You let me know.
You know what? Sometimes I feel like just because a person apologizes doesn't necessarily mean that they were wrong or that they agree with what the other person was thinking. They just know, like Kanye said, this is gonna be what we're trying to do is bigger than the beef.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so he was willing to be the bigger person and put his pride aside for something that's greater than whatever that the conversation or the beef was. And I commend anybody that can publicly apologize for anything that they do or to apologize in general, because you know it takes a lot of pride to apologize. And a lot of people hold on to their pride and they won't do it, and you know they can't do it. So yeah, I feel like for me, I know that just because a person apologizes does not necessarily mean the other person was right. It's just that I'm putting my pride aside for the better good, you know, and we'll do this. So
movement thinking over moment thinking. Go ahead, TJ.
I want you to continue your thought, because I do have a question after you're done with your segment.
No, I was just piggybacking off of what Giovanni said, and then throwing that little.
I was hoping that I know Jesse is having some technical difficulties. It's all good. She's gonna pop back in, but I'm gonna ask her when she comes on. But I want to ask both of y'all: is there such a thing called forever beef, where you will forever be beefing with somebody? I know Ja Rule of 50 Cent got forever beef. Is there ever a time where you have deemed someone to say, look, I don't care how much growth, how much God, how much self-care, self-love, whatever I got in me and this person, will forever have beef. We will never get along. I'll never collaborate with them. I will never do nothing with them. Is there such thing as forever beef, or does somebody have forever beef with you? Right.
As our resident Cardi B expert,
Yeah.
just say, is there something?
You gonna talk to the yeah? That's good. Go ahead.
Like in general.
Mm-hmm.
In general, whether it's personally, professionally, do you ever have forever beef, or are you past that?
I don't think anything is forever. Like me, after a while, I just get over stuff. Like I'll have beef with you until I really don't care anymore, or until we fight. But forever beef, nah. Unless you did something to someone I love, like my family, I just have the spirit of forgiveness, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I never forget, and I don't know. I've had beef with people for a while, but after a while, it's like, what's the point? Like, I don't even care. I don't care. Too much energy.
Giovanni, tell us.
That's a tough one, y'all. That's a tough one. Okay, so
be honest, y'all. Be honest.
Like,
fuck them.
Of course.
Sorry.
Wait, what?
No, I said fuck them people. Yes. Go ahead, Jay.
Like, for real, I'm just gonna be real. Like, once you kind of cross me, and I'm not going to be beefing with you, but there will never be another us. Like, it's not gonna be another us. Hee hee ha ha. No, because I know how you move. I'm not saying that 2 days later or a week later you're not going to be a changed person and I'm not going to be sanctified and Holy Ghost filled. I'm just saying that there's no point to like try to squash old beef when at that moment that's how you felt about me, and I feel like those moments count. That stuff still matters. Like if you was selling me out in October because you was beefing with me. Okay, that's what you did in October, and I just kind of feel like, you know, Kanye West and Drake, they can go on stage and rap together, and you know, hee hee ha ha, whatever, light the fire. But even Drake said it in one of his songs, like he said, this was 7 a.m. on the bridle or the bridle, one of those, and he said. Or he alluded to why do we continue to try to make amends, and then
if you go do the same thing,
day, we back. We really secretly beefing with each other, and I feel like a lot of times that's what it is. Like, you know, somebody sold you out and da 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 da, and then y'all cool, y'all make amends, but still in the back of your head they may say something. You be like, oh, she trying to be funny. You know, you just start thinking that stuff because that was a part of a past relationship. So I think there is such thing as forever beef. Now forever, what's the other one? Grudges? Maybe no. I'm not gonna hold a grudge. I'll forgive you, but I don't know. It's really hard to explain because I never really like beefed with a person to that extent, but I know what it feels like for a person to have tried me, and it's kind of like 5 years later, it's just like
I'm not over it, but I forgive you.
Yeah, when I see you, chuck them deuces. Like, and it's no beef, it's no animosity, but it's still like there was beef, and the way you treated me during that beef.
Show me what I need to know. I know who you are.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think I be thinking differently. Like Jesus forgives you, but that don't make you exempt from the sin. Like,
exactly.
True.
But I don't know. I think the King James version maybe say a little something.
Okay, maybe
they
I
walk
can say
things
that.
away.
Maybe
They told me
it's washed away. And
Giovanni, like I'm Old Testament. I'm Old Testament.
Old Testament, right? You're forgiven. I don't know, child. Don't take that advice from me on that.
Listen, once we launch this Bible study with Giovanni segment, Soapbox Sundays coming.
I'm such
The
a forgiving
soapbox
person,
scripture.
though, 2021 has taught me like, you have to, you could do all that forgiving, but don't forget. Like you could do a lot of forgiving, but don't forget people's actions because I don't know. Yeah. Think about all the people that's in prison. What would you call that forever beef? For people who went to prison because of robbery or murder, whatever, child molestation. I'm just saying, would you call that forever beef?
Hell yeah.
I mean,
No.
to job applications, yeah. As long as you gotta choose, have you ever been in jail or not? That's forever beef with the government.
That's forever beef. Like
they're trying to identify
you're
you.
not getting out.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. Some stuff is not, we're not locked up in a way, but that pain or that suffering that sometimes people go through sticks with them for a long time. So,
right. TJ, you got Tom?
I just want to chime in on the question that I posed. With me, it's like this.
TJ, you the one need to answer that question because
you already know about me. Look, I'm very open.
Fast.
Huh?
You be ready to cut people off so fast.
In a heartbeat. You breathe the wrong way, and I'm like, No, I'm not that. Listen, I'm not that bad because I give a lot of people grace. I try to work with people. Especially, all right, there's two different things, right? Now, my enemies have prestige. Like if somebody's like, I'm TJ's fucking enemy, you are. There's the reason why you're my fucking enemy. It's not because of like I've either sued you or you've had some sort of lawsuit. There's like real animosity. Like there's agencies, institutions that me and them have gone back and forth. Like my enemies have prestige where I'm like, damn, like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? But if you somebody who can't really, you mad at me, but you really can't do nothing to fuck up what I got in my world, then I don't really consider that beef, right? That's me. I don't beef down. I beef up. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't ever go and be like, nah, like there's folks now that have shows that say little slick shit about TJ and whatever. I don't give a shit. You see what I'm saying? Because guess what? You still watch. I know you still watch, and I know that you're still influenced by the shit that we do. So I don't care. But it is what it is. You can be for me, but it's like real recognize real, and you gotta, bow down to the blueprint that is the soapbox. That's me being petty. But on the other side, like me,
okay, so you broke personally down at that point.
Huh? He just said you got beef.
Beef and enemies are not the same.
Correct. Now, I will say this. Fuck with my family, or there's something where you try to take my name and you try, like, there's two people specifically that pop into my head where I have actually told people I won't even do events. And actually, they know who the fuck they are, right? Because they've gotten cease and desist letters. Like, I'll have to get shit popping. You know what I'm saying? I used to let things go, but it was more so like I was minding my business. And because of what I was doing in the community or helping people, whatever, like anytime you try to prevent me from helping other people because of your selfishness or because you are feeling insecure about my abilities and you start taking away opportunities for me to help more people, I really got a fucking problem with you, right? And especially there's this one pastor in Orlando who is a fucking serpent, and I will never do anything if he's involved. And I let everybody know that. And I tell him and I actually told him to his face. Like, he know I don't mess with him. I told him, look, you might as well just even stop trying to walk up to me and shake my hand because I don't even fuck with you like that. Just because you a bishop or whatever the hell you are, nah. That it don't work that way. And then this other person, she's been talking junk about me for years, and I've ignored it, and tried to prevent me from bringing water and supplies to Flint, Michigan. Like, you tried to get people to stop donating to me in our cause so that we can drive a truck to Flint, Michigan to help people that didn't have water, like children, like stuff like that. Like, we'll have forever beef. But other than that, nah. I try to make sure that I treat people with a certain level of respect and I have good business practices with them. So I'm not beefing with a whole bunch of people and there's a whole bunch of fires everywhere. Like, if you got a beef with me, it's because I have done something to tell you. I've set a standard and say, hey, what you did, I don't like. And then you got mad because you can't do certain things anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And because of that, and because of that standard, now it's like you got a problem with me, or you wanted to work with me and I refused to work with you. So now you got a problem with me. You see what I'm saying? But as far as like, yeah, but I'm talking people that got beef with me is like police. Like if you're a police department or a police union or like these big institutions. I mean, when me and the NAACP, when we had our thing and I had to, sue NAACP and won, represented myself. Yeah, there was beef there, all good, but it is what it is. But for the most part, I try to treat people right. And yeah, that's why I do cut people off, because it's like, if I beef with you, I'm going to make sure that the grass don't grow. And so I rather just walk away and push myself away from the table and say, you know what, let me bow out before there becomes a real big problem. I will just bow out. You see what I'm saying? And
yeah, I respect that.
Rather than go back and forth. But there are also people like y'all, like I refuse to be with certain people to the point where I'll just be like, all right, I'm the problem. And that's just how I hit. It's probably not the healthiest way of doing it, but that's just what I kind of do, is just kind of, bow out.
No, but that's good. That's good to talk about, because I feel like for me, maybe because I do try to keep things like on the surface, I haven't reached that level of like we beefing, because like when if I notice like a person may have some type of animosity towards me or whatever it is, either I ignore it or I try to overlook it because they're giving mixed signals. But maybe sometimes you need to establish like there is beef, like there is like.
Well, I think you can only have beef once you actually acknowledge it. If there are certain things where you like, oh, you mad at me? Okay, all right. Well, like for instance, y'all pretty much know what I referred to earlier, or whatever, or people that got a little beef with beef with me or whatever, and I'm just like, I just don't. We just kind of keep it pushing. I don't have to acknowledge that beef or whatever, because it actually has to be able to affect you. If someone is just upset with you or calling you names or saying stuff, and it's not really affecting your bottom line, it's not affecting who you are as a person, then it's not really beef. Beef is a two-way thing. Yeah, it's a two-way back and forth, right? It's a two-way thing. So if you choose not to acknowledge certain things, now here's the thing with me. When it comes to me cutting people off, it's because I have given, and that's me to a fault, I give people ample opportunities and try to have dialogue and communicate. I try to be an over communicator. Like, hey, Sugarfoot, I'm noticing something. What's the deal? Hey, what's up? This and this and that. Or, hey, I hear some grumblings that there's some issues. What's up? I'll give you ample opportunities for us to resolve it, squash it, whatever. But once you show me your ass that you just on some like, nah, F him, or you on some fake shit, then I'm like, I'm out. And look, the art of negotiation is the ability to walk away. And sometimes you just gotta walk away from folks and be like, you know what? You would have to give other people stock to think that, wait, you out of my life. Like some people, like you would have to think that this person not being in my life anymore as a friend or business partner, whatever, would somehow may mean that I am not going to get to my end goal, right? And I try not to give people that much power, right? But people try to think that they are bigger or have more value. They're a valuable person, but more value to me than they actually are. Like some people like to make you think like, if I break it with Giovanni, or if I break it with Alan or just say, then their lives are just gonna crumble. No. I found you. God will send me somebody else. I'm sure. You see what I'm saying? So I just try to make sure that I treat everybody with respect. but I do have standards. And once you show me that you don't meet those standards, then I'm like, hey, correct.
That's the
Yeah,
truth.
no, I feel that.
That was the word.
You should, Dre?
You know what? I feel you, TJ. And for me, like
Just say you beefing with people on social media. I don't do that shit no more.
I beef with people in real life. However, there was a situation, okay, where I was beefing with someone through social media only because this particular person was in a different state. And we don't live in the same place.
What they do? I'm nosy. What they do?
This person was being disrespectful, and me, I don't like that. I feel like I'm a very nice person, you know. And with this particular person in this particular situation, shut the hell up, TJ. I had addressed the situation like head on with this person, and then this person was throwing subliminals. Now, why would I confront you respectfully and then you're throwing subs? Now we got beef because I don't like that. I don't like to feel disrespected if I'm being like respectful to you.
Right.
So, because of that, yeah, we had a little beef, and yeah, I said a little shit. This person said a little shit, and then whatever, we ended up squashing it or whatever the case may be. But no, I don't like that. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, but if I feel like you're disrespecting me and I'm not being disrespectful towards you, you're gonna see a different side of me. Right. Until I get over it.
Hey, you ever had rap beef?
Rap?
No, I'm talking about Alan on the like independent scene. Nobody's ever been like, yo. Ain't nobody says some shit about Kissimmee, and you be like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
I see all the high school stand up. Nothing. Like, ain't nobody ever.
I had a small tit for tat. Way back in the day. That's actually like, ironically speaking, after we had our little back and forth, like that became one of the close homies and frequent collaborators. So. Shout out to my boy. I ain't gonna say no names. I don't want y'all to go to the MySpace and start digging up stuff. So but shout out to my dog. So for me, just to kind of wrap up this whole beef thing, for me, I feel like beef is active, right? Like, so if you guys are currently, if you guys were to see each other or you guys are actively doing things to perpetuate this beef, then it's active. If not, then if it plateaus, then it's no longer a beef. If you're in disagreement with someone, if you just don't fuck with them, you cannot fuck with someone for the rest of your life and not have quote unquote beef with them. I do think that is a little bit separate. Now I think a lot of times with people, when they don't like someone, they just want to make sure that there's distance. They want to go ahead and make sure that there's space between them. And speaking of space, and speaking of rap beef, now, back in the day, there was a little website called MySpace, right?
Yes.
And, you know, as cell phones came into play and apps came into play, MySpace kind of died down because, you know, we were in the era of apps, and it took a lot of maintenance, for lack of a better term. MySpace took a lot of work. You had to get a lot of shit together to get your MySpace together. And, you know, we're doing in the era of microblogging, which is essentially what Twitter is. It kind of became irrelevant. Now that Facebook has ruined the world, there is a new website called spacehey.com. That's right, spacehey.com, which essentially has the same layout as MySpace. Now, I'm just learning about this today. I wanted to report it to you guys because Soapboxx Nation, we love you, and we want to let you know how you can be on the edge and the future as well as the past of all the new technology and happenings going on.
Is this the virtual thing?
It's what? What do you mean? It's a website? Confused.
They don't have it on App Store though.
Oh yeah, I don't believe it's been an app yet. I do believe it's just a website. The website actually crashed today. That's how much traffic was going on. So there is a little.
I'm going on HeySpace.
See, look, spacehey.com. So make sure you.
All these free endorsements.
I know. Make sure you guys get your Googles up.
I'm gonna get on it.
Yeah, that turns out. Okay, so I think the best thing. Have you guys? Speaking of beef, have you guys ever had like any memorable top 8 MySpace beef that you remember?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Please Jesse, tell us about your MySpace.
What is that? Top what? What'd you say?
Okay, so I'm sorry. So for the people who don't know, what MySpace will allow you to do is create a top 8. Of course, you can choose it.
You mean
in the golden ages, you can choose your top 8. When they start expanding, you can do like a top 12, top 24, all type of wild stuff. But originally, it is the top 8. So it would be your top 8 profiles. And this would be the origin of many arguments, because your friends would see that they're not in your top 8 profiles, but you were in theirs, and et cetera, et cetera. It looks like Jesse has some PTSD in regards to these arguments that stem from that. And I would love for you to expound on your
Jesse was a mean girl in high school, probably.
And then I seen a couple faces that Giovanni made, so I know she had top 8 beef. So we're gonna kick it to her after. But Jesse, tell us.
Sorry, I was trying to log into Space Hey, and apparently I have an account already, so that's not true. And I gotta figure that out.
That's what you know you famous when people make fake accounts about you.
No, I'm definitely gonna figure that out. But yeah, no, I definitely did. Matter of fact, that's how I found out that I was getting cheated on, because niggas ain't shit. That's how I found out I was getting cheated on, because me and this chick both had this person as our number 1 on our top 8. And that's what I used to love about top 8. Top 8 used to expose people, and we both had each other. And she messaged me like, "Why you got my man on your top 8?" I'm like, "Bitch, why you got my man on your top 8?" And we just found it out. We found out that he was an ancient dude, and I left him, and she continued dating him. And he was like, "You see, she stood there for me while you left me. She stood there for me." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not saying it for you." And then the next time I was out where he lived, he proposed to me. Boy, goodbye.
What are you just racking up the proposal? Look at you.
I was about to say, did you say yes?
I said yes only because I felt bad, but then when I got back
that's the part that this is the part.
But look, when I got back in my state, I was like, yeah,
that's why I'm here.
I felt bad, but when I got back in my state,
he had a ring.
He did. And the ring looked like the wedding rings that guys have to wear. That's what it looked like. And when I got back in my state, I called him. I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. You can go back to homegirl because it's not happening." It's funny because years later, he did end up getting married, not to me and not to that girl, but to some other girl, and then he got divorced. And
Jess, can I ask how many proposals is that? Like, you like the Jordan? Like, how many? Was that like 6? You got 6 rings? Like, how many proposals? Because every time
I have only been formally proposed to twice in my life, TJ. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What are these?
Is this guy that you're talking about a formal proposal?
The one that I'm talking about, yeah, he proposed. And then I was proposed to again, and that's it. So twice in my life I was proposed, but never married. So one day, I will be married. Hopefully that's in God's plans for me,
Yes, keep hope alive. We believe.
Giovanni, tell us your spicy and salacious top 8 beef.
Y'all know what? I really don't remember the whole top 8 thing, but yeah, MySpace was the place to be. When I was in high school, it was always just like, I don't know, it was just for beef. Like it was just to show off and throw subliminal messages, and it was MySpace. And remember they had that one app where you could talk about people without your name?
No.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
It was a whole thing, and you could just write. I mean, you could say anything.
Mm-hmm,
and nobody would know who wrote it. But
is this like an electronic slam book or something like that?
It was an app, and you could be
we got some mean girls on our podcast, and it's coming out.
No, we don't.
Anonymously, and you could just
but
say
I'm gonna
stuff,
watch
but
it.
yeah, MySpace.
Damn, I had him problem.
MySpace was the days where I used to be writing up on there. Okay, when you see me in the hallway, run it.
Joe's eyes.
Don't be this. So let me tell y'all, because I never had these issues. And the reason why is it was very simple. What I would do was my top 8 would be like rappers and artists and stuff. So I would have like Jay-Z, Nas, and like all of these other famous people in my top 8. So no one can press me about it. I'm like, are you Jay-Z? Like,
smart.
Would you be on my top 8? You know what I'm saying? And that's how I avoided conflict.
I didn't have a top 8. It was
And
me and Tom.
Yo, one time for Tom. Shout out to Tom.
It was me and Tom, and that was it.
Do you guys remember your MySpace names?
Huh? There wasn't a name. Well, no, it was emails. There weren't usernames.
It definitely was usernames.
Oh,
I remember my AOL. That Insta chat. Remember back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
I used to be Thug T60. Because
I
I was obsessed with the Trick Daddy baby, because I'm a thug. Oh, that was my shit. So
Wait, what's
the thug when I was older?
What's the 60 for? You was cribbing?
No. 60 was my football number back in the day.
Okay.
Before I switched to 55, my sophomore year. 60 was my. So
mine used to be J Troublemaker 89.
Was my chat.
Thug T60. That is crazy. So yeah, shout out to Space Hey. I do think people, on a broader sense, I do think people are kind of like looking for a new and exciting, or maybe non-exciting, like social media platform. I think Instagram has super monotonized this platform to where it's not even fun anymore. The chronological order is not there. And even now, I'm seeing people on my regular feed I don't follow. 2, it's not even promotion. Like the promotions are annoying enough, but now it's just like random feeds and Instagram suggesting that I follow these accounts. So it's disgusting. And they keep degrading my picture quality because I have an Android. So I'm thinking about suing them. They got to be a class action between myself, Apple, and Instagram in regards to that. So, I mean, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if this takes off. Probably not.
I made mine. Follow me on Space Hey at Andrade Me.
Already?
Yes.
Crazy. That's right. But here we are. We'll give you the new and exciting technology over here.
I'm gonna try it out. Let you guys know how it goes.
Now, before we go, because we are going to be getting out of here in a little bit, random question. What are y'all reading right now? And if not right now, what have you read lately?
Yeah, so I just finished Sarah Jake's Lost and Found book, and it was amazing.
Ooh, you gushing. Tell me what it's about.
So basically, she was in a toxic relationship with her first husband, and he was just constantly cheating on her. And I mean, she talked about some of the things that she did as well, but it was one of those, like, how people say, well, women only do things because of the I don't even know, like the revenge part of it, or
what's the name of the
things
book?
like that. It's called Lost and Found, Sarah Jakes.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
But she just really talked about how you can really lose yourself in trying to have a relationship with people based off of each other's trauma. So like they were trauma bonding, but she was growing in a certain area to try to like prevent those cycles, so it wouldn't necessarily be like generational things. But her spouse wasn't necessarily growing, so it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, we were cheating on each other when we first started dating, but we've been married for 5 years. We should kind of be beyond that now, type thing. But so yeah, it's a really interesting book,
Okay.
and she tell her truth how one time she had to go, pull up. Like, she's like, yeah, y'all think I'm this sweet church girl, but baby, she didn't knock on some windows and snuck through some back doors. Like, do not play with TD Jake's daughter.
I'm sure. Listen.
But yeah, that was a really good book. The next book that I'm thinking about reading is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've been trying to read that book for the longest. I tried to read How to Get Rich or Get Rich.
Or not trying?
No.
The 50 Cent.
It's Think and Grow Rich.
My mom been telling me to read that. Yeah, my mom been telling me to read that since like forever, but I haven't got there yet. Thank you.
That's the vibe I'm on. What y'all want?
Also, Sarah Jakes, this is not an ad. Next, we got just say you eyeing anything?
Apparently, we just.
So yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really read any really good books since grad school. The last book I read was The New Jim Crow, which was a really good book. And yeah, the next book, I want to read like a book that has like, it makes me feel like I'm watching a movie or like a show, like drama. Like I like drama.
No.
And this, but this is why I wanted to do this segment too. Soapbox Nation, if you have any drama reading that you can recommend, please send them directly to Jesse. You can also send them to the Soapbox Podcast, obviously. And we would love to hear what you guys are reading as well. Again, like I said, give her the recommendations, please. But
who's that guy, the scammer? The guy who's like, I love drama. Like, oh my God, I'm a scammer.
Scammer. So yeah, please. But I'm sorry, and we did kind of cut you off. Outside of drama, what else are you looking for in a book so people can get you the respective recommendations?
So drama, and then I also want something that's gonna teach me. So like I've been looking lately into like parenting podcasts. So I want to read like a parenting book, like something that's gonna teach me how to be a better parent. Because I'm always like doubting myself as a parent. I always feel like I could be a better mom. So I'm looking for like a book that can teach me how to be a better mom.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, a lot of people don't look at relationships as something that can be improved upon, especially parenting. I think it's awesome that you are cognizant of that for real. And your kids are definitely going to benefit from that too. So, Johnson, and parents, all the parents out there, even if you're not a parent, even if you're a son or a daughter, and relationships that we just kind of go through the motions with, if there are things out there, there's literature, there's studies that we can all be reading to make sure that we are better in whatever aspect of relationship or companionship that we have. So yeah, shout out to Jesse. TJ.
Shout out to you, Alan.
Actually, besides some academic stuff that I'm reading currently, there is a book that came out. I believe it came out this week or is coming out. It's actually a book that's right up my alley because I really want to get into the space, even here on the Soapbox, of talking about the intersection between sports and politics. So Michael Eric Dyson has a new book out. Hold on, let me the banner is coming out. Has a new book out called Entertaining Race, Performing Blackness in America. And this is basically talking about how athletes and the dichotomy between athletes and politics, and how basically Black people are just been here to perform for white folks and talk about social justice issues and stuff like that. So that is something, if anybody wants to sponsor, we'll put that in a stocking stuffer for TJ. That is something that I am looking to get on Amazon or something like that shortly. So that's something that was interesting. That came out this week. And I was like, when I heard him speak about it, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to read up on that. But other than that, I actually read articles and stuff all the time. So I'm trying to get into the habit of reading more newspapers. I'm really not a big fan of paywalls, even if whenever I start our publication, like I'm not a big component of all these news outlets. I understand the print journalism is kind of taking a hit and they need to get funding, whatever. But I just think that it's a way of putting a barrier for people who are economically challenged. Not saying that I am, but for those who, especially inner cities and those people who want to get information, it's almost like classism. Like if you don't make or don't have a discretionary income to pay for these articles, then you can't get the information. If you can't get the information, then you're always going to be oppressed. So yeah, so that was my little soapbox thing about being on paywall. But yeah, I'm reading articles and stuff all the time. But yes, that book is something that I am interested in reading next for leisure, not for academic purposes.
Dope. I just finished this book. Well, my October book was Langston Hughes, The Ways of White Folks. So I'm into like Harlem Renaissance just because I'm biased. So I'm
Do you read a book a month? Is that your thing?
Yeah, I try
I would love to get on to that.
Yeah, I try to read a book a month. November is, I mean, we're about to be in the middle of November, so I've probably slacked on that just because I got a lot of shit going on this month. But yeah,
that might be my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I try to do a book a month just because it kind of keeps me disciplined. So I think outside of this month and like maybe I think there was I read Snow Crash, which is a great book and it's scary because it was written in 1992. And you know, it took me like a couple months to finish that just because it's kind of a thick book. Ironically enough, the name of the fictional city that the book took place in is called the Metaverse, right? And if you guys don't know, Facebook is changing their name or has changed their name to Metaverse. And this book that I'm referring to called Snow Crash, it came out in 1992. And like I said, it was recommended to me by actually a coworker, and it's kind of freaky. It's not a ton of stuff that's happening right now. There's still like robots and gadgets and gizmos that is not going to happen anytime soon. But there are aspects of that book that is like, oh, okay, it is. Somebody has some kind of foresight. So yeah, I read Snow Crash prior to the Langston Hughes book. So and then I think coming up, I just picked up this book from Strand Bookstore. It's called Arabs and Jews. Supposedly it's going to break down further, the origin of their conflict and why both sides see each other a certain way and why their relationship is presented on a forward-facing view, just like commercially as conflict. So I'm looking forward to doing that, but I'm not going to bore you out with my literature stuff. Before we go, as you all know, if you listen to the Soapbox, we are going to have a moral of the story. So first and foremost, actually, we never do this. So first, moral of the story is going to go TJ, what's the moral of the story? What you got for us today?
Sir, I thought you'd never ask. Shout out to the Soapbox Nation. Shout out to you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you. Don't worry. Look. It's the Moscato. Look, it's almost done. It was.
I hate you, TJ. Oh my god.
No, I'm fucking.
I thought that was CMOS.
No, yeah. No, shout out to the Soapbox Nation, Soapboxx Podcast. Follow the Soapboxx Podcast with 2X on all of our streaming services. We will be. Quick announcement before I do moral of the story. For those who do watch and listen to Soapbox, I know there was for the last couple of months, we've been trying to stream everybody to the YouTube side of the game and haven't really been on the Spotify stuff. That will be updated as the weeks keep coming on. So yes, but my moral of the story, beef takes a lot of energy. Right? And so your energy is probably best used on something constructive, like yourself. So take that energy that you would have on beefing with anybody else and use it toward yourself, because guess what? You know what shuts people up? Winning and being successful. Winning and being successful shuts any hater or any sort of doubter. And so my charge to everybody on this podcast or anybody listening is, if people doubt you, or if you have haters, or people are beefing with you, then guess what? Make sure you win, but don't just win. Run up the fucking score, because that's what I'm trying to do in my life. Because there are not a lot of people expecting me to do what I was doing now. But yeah, you want to make sure you run up the score so that you leave no doubt when it comes to your success. So continue to be successful. Continue to cultivate your mind, as Alan alluded to. I really like the What Are You Reading segment, Alan. That was a good touch. Yeah, that is my. Oh, and also, I'm actually going to go Christmas shopping this weekend to decorate my place and put on my Christmas tree. And I just wanted to.
I want a Christian Dior purse.
A what? Look,
Christian Dior purse.
Let me mute her mic. I don't know what you just said. But yeah, I'm also gonna put on my Christmas tree. I don't know if that's too early. I don't know if anybody wants to tell me that, but I felt like I need to let everybody
absolutely
know.
not. No,
But that's my moral of the story.
Thank you, TJ.
I don't know who a Christian Dior. What?
Yeah, this is a.
Just as high. Well, you think it was every name Christian.
But she put that on her soapbox wish list. So now
okay.
Well, listen, since you're already here, outside of Christian Dior, Just A, what is your moral of the story?
My moral of the story is to pretty much piggyback off of what TJ said. TJ, I hate when you do this. Oh my God. It's to pretty much piggyback on what TJ said about the beef. Like, don't give any type of beef your energy. You are better than that. Focus it on something that's more important, like your craft. But Summer Walker did come out with a new album called Still Over It. And one of my favorite songs on there is called Toxic. And one of the first things she says is, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. And so, yeah, just don't start and it won't, it'll be okay. That's my moral of the story.
I was going to ask y'all about Summer Walker, but I just knew. I'm going to start betting money. I know Just A. It's been, 2 years we've been on Soapboxx?
I love it.
Javon be giving me some surprises, but this one over here, I know her ass.
We're gonna get into that album, too, because it was a lot going on.
Oh, my God.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay, so we'll save that for a couple weeks. Giovanni, please lead us out to the more of your story.
Hold on.
You muted though.
Yes, y'all. It's Thursday. We know that it is almost Friday, long day. But to kind of keep it on the same topic, my moral of the story would be, don't be the person to play the joke and try to hide your hand, in the words of Kanye West. Yeah, that's my moral of the story. A lot of people want to play the joke and try to hide their hand, and you getting exposed, then you start an unnecessary beef. So since this was kind of, and that even can go back to the Travis Scott conversation. Like, all right, Travis, what you really trying to do with all these people out here? Like, you trying to start you trying to incite a riot out here. What you really trying to do? And don't be the type to cut the grass and snake your bestest man. Like, but yeah, so everybody be great and keep it 100. I know you'll be having those apology letters like Kanye West.
Yes. Okay. Can I also say something real quick?
No, it's not your turn. I'm just kidding.
Since we're on the topic of beef,
I missed you, Just A. I missed you, Just A. Okay,
yeah,
I missed you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I missed you too, TJ. Since we're on the topic of beef, I think we should do like a show where we do like a freestyle rap battle. I would like.
I'm gonna let Alan answer that question.
Hey, listen.
Alan was like,
y'all should have saw this.
Listen, this if we want to have a wilding in, I'm not gonna call it wilding out. It's gonna be called wilding in segment of the Soapboxx Podcast. Listen, let the Lord be our shepherd and guide us through that. I feel like if she is suggesting it, that she has pre-written raps. So she might be cheating, but
I don't.
Yeah, the bars are there.
I don't.
She she got the BlackBerry scroll like Drake in 2009.
I just will say this: we did have to remember we did shop talk, we did beauty shop, and we kind of got delayed with the battle of the sexes. We still got to do that episode, so who knows? Soon come.
She's coming. Rap battle of the sexes. Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Anyways, so my moral of the story is, at the end of the day, y'all, we're going to the next year. I've been speaking with a couple people, and we're so close to the next year that they are purposely procrastinating everything that they want to do to 2022. I discourage that. As a professional procrastinator, I know that it is very easy to be like, I'm just going to do this at the top of the year, have a good deadline, do woo. I'm here to tell you, you're not going to do it. just start now. And by the time the new year comes, you'll already be in a rhythm. You know, it says it takes 21 days to start a habit. We have, 21 days times 2 and some change to the end of the year. So start your habits now. So when you get into the new year, you can already be in a rhythm and you won't have to start from scratch. So that's going to be my moral of the story. If I could have my lovely co-host come and join me on the screen. My name is Alan York. I'm only 1/4 of the force that is the Soapboxx Podcast. Once again, Soapboxx Nation, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will see y'all next week. Pieces, deuces. Have a good night.
Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything.